Hello, Impact Weather Meteorologist Chris Abear with an update on the tropics. First, want to look off to the eastern Atlantic where we still have Tropical Storm Katia, which is moving to the west-northwest at about 14 miles per hour. It looks like it's going to pass about 200 miles to the north and east of the Caribbean Sea on Sunday and then probably make a turn to the northwest and north, passing very close to Bermuda. Toward about next Tuesday or Wednesday, I think it's going to stay off the east U.S. coast, so we don't have any worries there. Let's take a look over at the Gulf of Mexico now. That's our big concern across the Gulf and across the Houston area. We have a disturbance in the northwestern Caribbean Sea, and that disturbance is moving to the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Now, the question is just what is it going to do in terms of our weather locally? Let's take a look at some of the model guidance, and I'll show you why we're just not too sure what's going to happen with it in the end result here. First of all, it's the Canadian model. The Canadian model, by Saturday afternoon, this is taking it right into the Houston area as a hurricane. Now, I do think that the Canadian model is probably a little bit overblown in terms of the intensity. I think it could well become a tropical depression, maybe a tropical storm out in the northwestern Gulf. But if it moves ashore by Saturday afternoon, as the Canadian model suggests, it's probably only going to be a lower-end tropical storm, which would mean some beneficial rain for the Houston-Galveston area and much of Texas. But the European model is a little bit different. The European model, by Saturday afternoon, again, has a low pressure area in the Gulf, and I do think it's going to be a low pressure in the Gulf. It might be a little bit stronger than the European model is forecasting, and there's a good chance that it would cause some significant rainfall all along the northern Gulf Coast. In fact, if we look at the European model beyond Saturday afternoon, it actually forecasts this low to gradually intensify out in the Gulf of Mexico for another 4 or 5 days before later next week moving into this same area, the Houston-Galveston area, as a hurricane. I don't think that's very likely as well. Let's take a look at the American model and see what it's forecasting now, and I'll show you some more uncertainty. Well, the American model does something completely different. It has a tropical storm developing in the northwestern Gulf, just like the Canadian model does, but instead of taking it to Houston, it takes it to the northeast of Florida. What does that mean for Houston? Nothing in the way of rainfall. Well, let's hope that's not the solution that actually verifies. I think it's probably going to be something similar to the Canadian and the European model, most likely is what's going to happen, which means a low pressure center develops out in the Gulf on Friday. It could strengthen to a tropical storm on Saturday, then it may well move inland into the northern Gulf Coast, maybe the upper Texas coast or South Louisiana during the day Sunday or Monday. Probably the tropical storm, not as a hurricane. If it does stay offshore longer, though, it could become a hurricane. We're still not sure about our rainfall, though. The only way we're going to get some significant rainfall in the Houston-Galveston area is if this system moves inland to our west and southwest. If it moves into Louisiana, we might not get very much rainfall from it at all. But there's still a great deal of uncertainty in the models as far as its long-range future. We can hope that we get a little bit of rainfall across southeast Texas. It's not a complete guarantee just yet, though. For Impact Weather, I'm meteorologist Chris Abear. Thanks for viewing.